Good morning and welcome to this April 28th episode of Java with Josh. I am Josh Mason, your host, and today we're going to do some resume reviews. There's a lot of you tuning in today across Cyber Insecurity YouTube channel, my LinkedIn, Geral Auger's LinkedIn, Gerald's channels, my own YouTube channel. So I don't have any moderators today. If you keep showing up to these and you would like to help moderate and throw questions to me in chat, hit me up on a DM either in LinkedIn or on Discord, and I'll see. I could really use a constant moderator. Some of the other channel moderators are busy in the mornings, so let me know. For those who don't know me, back in 2009, I graduated from the Air Force Academy. I flew C-130s for about 6 years. These planes, 4 fans of freedom, 150,000-pound aircraft, can put a couple Humvees in the back and can airdrop those Humvees. I have done that. If you are, please do not spam out chat. Vincent, thank you. Like I said, don't have any moderators to fix that. But I flew C-130s for a bit. My wife did as well. And then I swapped into cyber warfare, ran the communication squadron along with some others. Thanks, Justin. Down at Hurlburt Field and managed their training and deployments for about 300 comm troops there. Then went over to the Special Operations School and taught Introduction to Special Operations, SOF, Air Command and Control, so Special Operations Forces Air Command and Control. Got out of the military at the end of 2019 and moved up to Maryland, where I taught at the Defense Cybercrime Center's Cyber Training Academy for Jacobs as a contractor, and taught threat hunting, penetration testing, digital forensics, criminal investigations, and a lot of people DMing me on LinkedIn right now. I guess I did ask you to do that. I taught that for a bit and then got the opportunity to go and work with Neal and Jack, both here at Cyber Insecurity and at INE. Applied for that job. Philip Wiley helped me know that job was available, and I jumped over there. We got Alexei Ahmed in there, Hackersploit, who is a veteran of penetration testing and creating penetration testing training material. His channel's got, I think, over 600,000 subscribers, and he's constantly putting out new content. He's got really good content. We just finished building the new INE penetration testing student pathway, which is about 8 courses and somewhere around 40, maybe 50 labs. And then the new EJPT V2 is coming out next month, 2 months. I'm not sure. It's up to marketing. But it's going to be a really great exam. All the issues that people had of connecting to the exam and boxes being down. I know when I took the exam, there were issues with the VPN dropping and with machines on the lab stalling and breaking. It's all moved to browser-based, which will make that a lot easier. I know there's complaints about browser-based. You won't be able to have your own tools. It's a full up-to-date Kali box. You'll have all the tools you need to pass EJPT, and you'll have practiced with them in all the browser-based labs during penetration testing student. It's not ideal, but also you don't have to have someone watching you for 24 hours straight, and you get the full time to do the exam. I know the biggest limb back for me when I was taking the exam was both scans and dealing with VPN issues. If scans went faster and brute force went faster and VPN issues weren't a problem, I would have been done with the exam in like an hour. So both those things can't fix the scans, but I can promise you that it's realistic. It's not a CTF. So, like I said, I do not have a moderator. So if you have questions, please put a big old Q in there, because I'm going to switch back and forth between Restream and the Cyber Insecurity YouTube feed and see where people are asking questions. I have resumes from a bunch of you from last week that we didn't get to. I'm going to start with those. Some people have sent me resumes in the last 20 minutes. I am not going to be able to get to those, but if I do this again, then that's where I'll start. Next week, I'm going to be at Way West, put on by Wild West Hacking Fest. The folk at Black Hills Information Security, amazing people, John Strand, Jason Blanchard, and their crew. I'm going to be doing 2, along with Kip Bolin and a couple others, doing 2 workshops of resumes and job prep, job hunting, and some mock interviews. So we are trying to build out exactly what that's going to look like. Next week's stream, I'm planning on taking this computer and some of this gear and filming from San Diego at the con. We'll see how that goes. Hey, Jess. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. The week after, I might be traveling for work, so I don't know if I'll have a stream that week. We'll see how that all pans out. But for today, resume reviews. I'm using the resume rubric. I totally forgot to pull that up from Cyber Insecurity. That Neal Bridges has a few things that he looks for, and he talks about when he is doing a resume review, or when he's either to help people or himself when he's going through a resume, saying, hey, is this person someone I want to work with? And it's broken up into your experience. When you show your experience, is it relevant to the job you're applying for? And you should target a specific job. You want to highlight the things that you did in the past that will help your new boss, your new manager. How will you add value to their organization? How are you a good fit for what they need? They've decided that they have a new project. They have more work than they needed before. Maybe someone left and they're trying to fill a hole. Whatever it is, they need something specific. They put in a job description. Maybe it's not always accurate because of HR, but they put something in a job description saying, hey, this is what we need. Now, if you're going to the store, I was just at the grocery store yesterday afternoon. If you are looking for bread, if someone's like, hey, here's some apples, you're like, okay, that's not helpful. I'm looking for bread. If someone's like, hey, here is pita, you're like, okay, well, that might work. Depends on what you need bread for, right? So you are a product. You are a product for someone who is going to pay money for your time and your experience and your expertise. Now, you might have exactly the expertise and experience and skills that they need, but they can't see it unless you show it properly. There's a few ways that I say of doing it. A resume is just one little way, because when you apply for a job, they're going to want to see your resume. If they have no other prior experience of you, then that's it. That's everything. Up until they interview you, that is your whole brand on a piece of paper. I'm not going to do LinkedIn profiles today, Bernard, but wasn't planning to. We'll see how it goes. If you guys really want that, I could. Getting a lot of questions in here. Great questions. Like I said, don't have a moderator, so I'll get to them when I get to them. So that is your brand. That is what you're presenting out there. And let's take a look at a couple resumes and a couple of these rubric items and see how they fit. A couple of other things that get included in, I'm just going to show this window. Oversharing. That's fine. So the resume review rubric, cyberinsecurity.tv, resources, and then resume rubric. It's right there. But your experience, you want it to be relevant. You want it to say what you did, why it mattered, and why it matters to your new organization. No word soup. There's a lot of people who think I'll just put all the skills that I know, all the tools that I've worked with, I'll put those into a thing that says skills maybe, or tools. And that'll help with the ATS to be like, oh, we're looking for all of these things. We're looking for Python. We're looking for Kali. We're looking for Linux. That might kind of work for your ATS, but it's not really great on your resume when someone's actually looking at it, because it looks like word soup. It's like, what did you do with those skills? What experience do you have? What expertise level do you have? And I've heard Joe Hudson and Geral Auger go back and forth about this of, could you put I am like this level of skilled in these things? You could. What's more helpful is in your experience. You say, I worked with this technology in this fashion to do these goals in order to bring this to the organization. And I could do that for you. You want your bullet point to say that. That's how you get your skills in there in a way that's relevant in what you've done. And it could be volunteer work. It could be a home lab. You could say that I have done TryHackMe labs utilizing these skills and could implement them in this fashion in your organization. Length, you don't want it to be too short in that you miss value. You don't want it to be like pages and pages and pages where no one's going to read the whole thing. So length is a relative thing. A relevant summary. If you're going to put a summary at the top, make it relevant to the job you're applying for. At the beginning of this stream, I gave a little bit of my background. Now, that may or may not be helpful on my resume. A lot of my job experience is going to be in my resume. So putting all that at the top, not super helpful. Instead, my elevator pitch of why I should be in this job, that's what I want to put in my resume. Like, I have done these things and I can do them for you. Big picture, very short, to the point, up top. And then for bullets, what, so what, now what? When you have bullets for your job experience, put what you did, not just what you did in the job. Like, if you were a system admin, there's things that we know that you probably did. You updated the systems, you patched things, you provisioned and deprovisioned both users and equipment. That's what a system admin does. Great. What I want to know is, how many people did you help? What big projects were you part of? Like, what is it that was special? What is it that made an impact? How did you actually do things that I care about and set you apart from all these other resumes I'm looking at and all the other people that applied? Some jobs get up to 3,000, maybe more applications. If you get to the point where they're looking at your resume, not just going through the auto sorting, then you really want to make an impact there. You really want to get to that interview, because they usually only interview a handful or two. Some good coffee. So I asked people who, if you send me your resume, if you could please send me a job that you're applying to. Okay, that's a good idea. But when he has it, okay, I'm gonna keep the one. My precious. Work from home, gotta love it. So I asked people to send me jobs that you are applying to with your resume, because I want to give you advice that is relevant to the job and your resume. So Christopher Prue from last week sent me his resume. If you do send me your resume, if you could redact it for your email and your phone number, that'd be really helpful. If you send me a PDF that I can't edit, then I'm probably not going to show it, because I don't want to dox you to the world. Anyone could watch this YouTube video. So I've gone through all of these and removed emails and phone numbers, but if you could do it, that'd be awesome. And that's my 4-year-old. She's amazing. So he sent me the senior system administrator for Optima, and it looks to be a remote job, mid to senior level, full-time, and it's a system administrator. So the things that they're looking for: experience working in 24/7 ops. So you need to help maintain the system so that they're up all the time. Windows and Linux administration and enterprise products, Kubernetes and cloud, Does it say what cloud? No, just cloud. HIPAA, PCI and SOX. It says experience. It doesn't say what experience. Scripting, Sebastian PowerShell. That would kind of, to me, that kind of goes along with the Windows and Linux administration. Some Linux variants. Cool. And then network troubleshooting, automation. It does say solutions such as DSC, Ivanti, Ansible, Puppet, Chef. So if you've worked with configuration management solutions, that will help. Okay, self-repair rather than relying on alarming human intervention. So if you have automated, if you've made tools that solve problems automatically, okay. Monitoring solutions such as Splunk, Insight, Azure Monitor, and SCOM. Great. You also sent me this network administrator job. Sorry, get to that later. This one's for Xperity remote, entry level, a little different. Support to employees. You're going to train and troubleshoot for first line network issues. Anything terribly crazy. Advanced data center AC and UPS maintenance. Is that just taking out UPSs and putting new ones in? Is that getting out a soldering iron and fixing the UPS? I don't know. Probably not that one. Probably the first one. Maintenance of router switches, firewalls, and network devices. Makes sense for a network administrator 2. How does this administrator 2 and entry level? I don't know. But experience, they're looking for a bachelor's or equivalent. There's not a bachelor's or equivalent for network admin, so I don't know. And a comp sci degree will teach you how to code. Whatever. I imagine it is contract work. Xperity. This one's dumb. Sorry. 3 years of similar work experience for a level 2. That kind of makes sense. Solid understanding of ITSM concepts. Advanced routing knowledge. You are a network admin. Makes sense. Advanced network protocols. Advanced with VLANs. Sure. So they're using AWS. So VPC, subnets, transit gateways, direct connects. Okay. Network automation, Ansible and Terraform. Infrastructure as code. Some HIPAA awareness, so that makes sense. Network admin with HIPAA segmentation, kind of. And then strong understanding. So this strong understanding right here stands out to me. This other stuff, they're like knowledge, strong understanding. Problem solving skills, security skills, IAC toolset, AWS networking. This has come up a couple times right there, right there. If you don't have an AWS cert, then you're going to need to show some sort of knowledge of AWS for this one. And then strong understanding of advanced routing protocols. Cool. Experience with HP, Cisco, AWS again, and VMware. It doesn't say like vCenter. Using VPs. So yeah, experience with VMware. Gotcha. All right, Chris, let's see. So off the bat, cybersecurity professional, top 3% at TryHackMe with security clearance. Skills in Kali and using Elk. Is this right? Chris, are these the jobs that you wanted me to look at? Sorry, I'm going to check real fast. Make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, no. Chris, you were looking for a different job. Who was looking at these? Sorry. Kevin? Yeah. Nope, you got a different one. Sorry. Trying to figure out who wanted what. Tim Sayer. That's the one. What did you call yours? Did you just call it Tim Sayer? Yeah. And gonna redact real fast. Good save. Okay. There we go. Tim, watching. Hope this helps. Okay. So this one's interesting. Okay, yeah. Now I remember. So, technical skills summary. So this word soup. Truth be told, it's kind of helpful. You don't have AWS experience, which they both asked for. At least not listed up here. You're sending your resume and having people send it to this Kits WV, which I know is your own company, this Kennel IT Security. This is like you and one other. So it kind of makes sense, but it is also confusing. If you're sending out a resume, don't put your current company's email on the resume. Put a good, professional, personal email address. I've got a couple. Like my handle for everything is Joshua17SC. I have an email for that. Please don't spam it. I've also got the one that's professional. It's the same as my LinkedIn. LinkedIn in Joshua C. Mason. So what is my email? joshuacmason@gmail.com. Please don't spam that. Dox myself there. That'll be fun. That's the one I put on resumes. That's the one where I want people professionally to reach out to because it's me. It also matches where other people could reach out. And you've got your email and your phone number, and that's kind of it. Do you have a GitHub repo? Do you have a LinkedIn? Do you have Twitter? Do you have any way of people being able to look at your resume and then look and find out where else have you shown that you know things professionally? Do you have a blog? Do you have a GitHub repo where you've put walkthroughs or tools that you've made maybe for scripting and network administration? PowerShell scripts that you've built that you want to share with the world that can, update, patch, and do some great stuff. If you don't have one of those, but you do all those things, maybe it's worthwhile to build a little repo so that people and put it on your resume so people could go and look at your GitHub and be like, oh, this guy knows how to do the scripting that I said I want to be able to see. Like, oh, he does the automation. I can see it because I look at his script that he wrote on GitHub. Anyways. Chief of operations. Yeah. So these are what you do as the chief of operations. Yes. How does that help me? How does your ability to negotiate contracts and obtain employment opportunities, how does that show that you have what I'm looking for in this job? Your bullets also are kind of lacking a what, so what, now what? What did you do with these that made an impact and matter to me? Diagnose and repairs various types of computer and electronic equipment. How many? How many tickets did you handle? How many users did you handle? How many systems did you touch? For what value and with what outcome? Were they successful? Did you help this many companies by working on this many things? Because in a given year, if you're going to come work for me as a IT or network admin, as a sysadmin, then I'm going to expect you to be able to work at this level, especially for a 2 or a senior, mid to senior, like those other roles are saying. Truth be told, between you and me, it seems like you have the skills, but at the same time, I'm not hiring this. So you need to sell yourself to the person who is hiring for that. Your service desk, this is not a terribly amazing job title right here. Ameriprise Financial Technical Support Case Western Reserve University Service Desk. Okay. When you're trying to tell someone what you did, I know you're being accurate. This was all the stuff, right? Cut to the chase. Tell them what you did that's overall relevant. So like my last, with INE, I was a red team instructor. One, I only taught like a couple hours of live instruction for a boot camp. Otherwise, I was a content creator, program manager, project manager. And so all of those things, I was a cybersecurity education content creator or content developer or education developer. Things that other people can look at and be like, oh, okay, so you built things, not just taught, which is one thing. And in the spaces I come from, there is a difference between being able to sit in front of a camera or sit in front of a room and say things versus making slides, coming up with syllabi, working to decide what the training needs analysis is for an organization or for your customer, working out what the course objectives, lesson objectives are going to be, creating all of that, creating documentation, creating an exam that judges based off of these things. There's way more. So one red team instructor kind of says one thing, cybersecurity education developer kind of says a different one. So you need to explain what you did there very briefly in your job description. If you were service desk, were you a 1, a 2, a 3? Does it matter? Was that a thing? If you repaired Windows-based computer systems, like how many, to what impact, and why does it matter to us? So I repaired or handled, 800 tickets for an uptime of this for the organization. I don't know. Are you helping students? Are you helping administrators? It's a university service desk. Looks like you troubleshot network problems with Wireshark, Nmap, and BleachBit, and that's good. To what end? To get a system back online that had gone down. Kid just dropped this on my desk, so I got to figure out how to get the leg. I'll do that later. Unrelated work experience. I would not put unrelated work experience. I'll tell you, for my resume, I've got INE, I've got DeSita, and I've got my work at both the Special Operations School and this Communication Squadron, and then I'll put pilot with a few things that I did that were additional to my job that apply now. So I built training, I ran programs, I ran projects. Like about 5 hours a week, I got up in one of these planes and did some really cool stuff. The other probably 55 hours of the week that I was at work were creating training programs, managing a flying schedule, managing a safety program, working the support desk. Yes, as a lieutenant, and as a lieutenant, I ran the support desk, the duty desk, on like 1 day a week. Managed this duty desk. I created the schedule and made sure that someone was there. Did that when I was a first. Yeah. All of that though, I boiled down to like 2 bullet points of like, I was a pilot during this time, but I also did worked with this technology to this end, and I change that depending on the job that I'm applying for, because there's a lot of stuff that is actually relevant in there to the value that I can bring to an organization. So for you, National Guard, supervised staff of 5, that is kind of super important. Battalion commander, I know what that means. Whoever you're sending this to might not know what that means. So supervised staff of 5 and direct report to leader of 1,000 employees. Depends on which battalion you're at, but that sort of thing. Coordinated travel arrangements for over 350 troops. That's cool. That makes sense. I get where you're coming from and what you did, having been there. But again, why do these people care? Why will Optima care about that at all? You've done a lot of things, all of you. You don't need your resume to say all the things you've done. You need to say all the things that you've done that matter to this job. Little look, senior or network administrator 2. You're going to do training and train and provide troubleshooting procedures for first line network issues. Okay, so you might have people below you. This job, I might highlight that I have led people, but to what end? Supervised to coordinate for the unit of 350 people to be able to do this thing. Put that in one bullet. And truth be told, if that's the only thing that's super relevant out of that experience, that is fine, but make it a valuable bullet. Okay, you got a bachelor's degree. One of these did ask for a bachelor's degree. The formatting here, I usually don't go into like grammar, formatting, typos when I'm doing these reviews, because you could do that, or if you just spend a little time on it. But having something go across like this, if they print it out, they're going to be like, oh, this makes sense. I don't know. Just make sure that it gets all on the same page. There's a chance I took this from PDF to Google Doc and it messed it up. But those are the sorts of things that I would look at when I'm doing attention to detail in the end. Associates in computer networking systems, that is valuable. I would highlight that. You have a bachelor's and you have a associates in computer networking systems. So the guys who are looking for a bachelor's degree or equivalent for a network administrator, that might be valuable. That might be more valuable, your education, because that was one of the first things that they noted. Education and experience. The first thing there is a bachelor's. Maybe for this job application, you put your education before your experience. It's a small change. You just grab these things, you pop them up here, and then it's like tick, tick. Okay. Depending on HR and the hiring manager, whoever's doing this, that might go a lot faster. That might help. And then your training and certs. Some of this is useful. So Security Plus. There's a lot of people, if it's 8570 at all, that's a bonus. Where you got it, no one cares. No one cares where you got your Security Plus, because it's, yeah. Some of this doesn't necessarily matter. So no offense. You sound like you're knowledgeable and you can do a whole bunch of things. And I think that's awesome, personally. But how do these help with the job that you're trying to get now? Carpenter apprentice program, neat. I think it's cool. I want to hit you up later for advice on how I'm making these cabinet doors for my kitchen. But like for hiring you to be a network admin, I don't see where the value is there. Same with like basic combat training. Like, you're good. We got people for that if we need it, but hone down your training to what matters. So Security Plus, do you have any Cisco or AWS? Because they both these look for AWS. AWS certs, Cisco certs, Network Plus certs, training that you did. Even if you didn't get a cert, if you did training, because you say training and certificates, if you did any training, if you did like a LinkedIn training, if you did a free training, or like Udemy, anything showing that you've done training on those, that would be really useful. there's a good chance you have your own home lab setup. Might be useful to put that sort of thing in there as well. I would put that instead of unrelated training. So that's my take. I feel like you would be a good fit for either of these jobs. There's just some things that you could like bump yourself up for being like an okay applicant who, like, if someone dives in, they'll be like, oh yeah, this guy could do this, to being like the applicant where they're like, oh, I want this guy. Like, we're done looking. I want this guy. Also, yeah, I would look at GitHub. You run your own company, so I'm assuming you do some level of marketing. If you've got a LinkedIn for that, which I think you have a website for Kettlewell IT security, because I looked it up. I was curious. I was curious to see if it was your company or if like if you're part of an organization, especially since you're using that as your email. Don't do that anymore. Change your email. But if you've got a blog, if you've got LinkedIn posts, if you've got Twitter or GitHub, let's put those on here. Okay. Gonna look at chat real fast. Hey, Tom. Is it still true to not include dates on certs and education? This is from Cyberhound Tech on YouTube. Looks like on Gerry's YouTube. As this could lead to age discrimination? I don't know. If there's certain your job experience is going to probably show like how old you are. If you've been doing stuff for 12 years, like you're at a professional level, that puts you in your 20s, late 20s, 30s, right? If you've been doing stuff for 20 years, like that's kind of obvious. So it depends. If you've got like Novell certs, that's valuable, but it depends on the job. Sorry, all the trees in Maryland right now are like killing us. So flowers are beautiful, but the trees are just destroying my sinuses in case I sound super nasally. Sorry, LinkedIn user. Hopefully this is helpful and not just like making you feel bad. But age discrimination, hit me up afterwards. Like if you are concerned about this, because if you're worried about age discrimination, is it because of the jobs that you're putting in for and your expectation of where you're coming from? I know some people who they did military and then they were truck driver, and now they're in their like 50s and 60s and they're trying to get into cybersecurity. And so they're looking at like analyst roles and SOC roles, and they're competing against people who are in their like late teens to early 20s in some cases. And again, I think it comes down to what value do you bring? Like, have you shown that you've been learning new stuff? Because what people worry about is the idea that it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So are you able to learn? Like, how relevant are your newest certs? How relevant is your latest training? Are you doing stuff? Because if you're doing stuff, then I don't care. Don't care how old you are. Like, let's get you in there. So you need to show that. Does that make sense? If you're worried about age discrimination, then make it not matter. Show them that what they might be worried about based on your age doesn't matter, because you could learn new stuff and you could add value. Yeah, I've got like Sudafed and Dayquil and Claritin and Zoloft, or not Zoloft, something spray, and it's helping. I was in so much pain. Sorry, gonna just check questions a little bit before I jump over. Temitope Akinbosede asked, sorry if I butchered that name, my bad. said, do I have to tweak my resume for every job I have to apply to suit exactly what I'm looking for? Yes. Yes, you do. If you want to get that job, yes. Also, if you're applying to 10 jobs a day, I get that. I've been there. Before I got out of the military, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I applied to like 250 jobs before I stopped counting. And truth be told, the job that I wanted, I didn't apply. The job that I got, I didn't apply for. I connected with someone on LinkedIn. I said, hey, can I help you out? And they asked for my resume. I had a generic one that I had been throwing out. It kind of fit, and I got a job as an instructor because I had been an instructor. And yeah, it worked out. Loved the job. Gets to another thing where I think applying for jobs is just one way of getting in there. The better way of getting in is by making connections. My whole civilian job or like career, that first one, I didn't apply to Jacobs. I connected with the VP of education who had just gotten the role and they just got the contract for the military. And I said, hey, this is my background. Love what you guys are doing. I had seen his organization and his name on some documents. And so I went and looked, started following people and connecting people on LinkedIn. I don't even think I was a connection to him. Hit him up, said, hey, you guys are doing great work. Really a big fan. Said, thanks. You guys are doing good work too, because I was an intern for 6th Gen at the time. I said, hey, I'm doing this internship. I'm going to be out of the military at the end of the year. If there's anything that I could do to help your organization, would love to be a part. And he said, could I have your resume? And I said, sure. And that was the end of the conversation. That was it. 2 days later, the recruiter called me and said, hey, would you like to talk to the hiring manager? And I was like, yes, I would. And then had the interview the next day and had the job the day after. So didn't apply for that one. I applied only because they're like, oh, hey, you actually have to like apply. So our system, you can set up the paperwork so you can get your offer. Okay. 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. Mr. Sniffles over here. My second job with INE. Philip Wiley told me that, hey, there was a job available. Reached out on LinkedIn. And I went, oh, okay, that's awesome. I had been on Cyber Insecurity Discord. I reached out to Jack and Neal and was like, hey, I'm going to apply for this job. And they're like, okay, cool. Let's do it. And then interviewed with both of them, got that job because they were the hiring manager and the director or the chief content officer. So got that job. Then this is my first week at SimSpace. That was my big announcement. I made it on LinkedIn. I've told people on Discord before, so I wasn't making a big thing of it today. For that one, after the Global Cyber Games, I was like, hey, you guys are doing some really great stuff over there, to another Naval Academy grad. First guy, Naval Academy grad. This one, also another different Naval Academy grad. I'm an Air Force Academy grad, but there's something about Academy graduates. It's a small community, ironically. Said, hey, I saw that you guys have these jobs open. What's like the pay range on that? And he's like, oh, so it's this for that one, but I think they just filled it. There's this other job that's going to be open, and it's this. Do you want to talk to the hiring manager? And I was like, sure. So he sent an email and talked to that hiring manager. Hiring manager said, hey, could we do a phone call tomorrow? Did the phone call. He's like, I want you to talk to a couple other people on my team, talk to them later the next week. Then he sent me an offer. And I don't think I ever applied. Yeah, I never applied for this job. It was that. And now I work for him. And it's great. So I needed a resume for all these jobs. I needed something that made sense, but at the same time, connections, and branding are more valuable than just having a good resume. If you have all those other things, you turn over a resume and it looks like a turd, then like people might double think and be like, oh, wait, what? So make a good, useful resume, but also put time into what will most likely work, which is branding and connections. If you can make people come to you and be like, hey, do you want to work with us? That is gold. I know a few people who have done it. Like, yeah, I know several people who have done that. So if it happens, it works. My own experience, yeah, is unique. But in the least, have a good resume. So that's what we're going to do here. This one, Christopher Moore, you did send me a job that you were applying to. So I'm just going to go through it quickly. Looks like you used either something very similar to or used Stefan's resume. Just things I noticed. And this is fine. So military veteran with 14 plus years, security operations and management. Again, cool. What job are you applying to? And why does that matter? If you're, putting that you're a veteran, useful, but also it's down here in your experience where it says Air National Guard. So do you need to put it up top? I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't need to tell people I'm a veteran. They'll figure it out. It's in there. I haven't seen discrimination against veterans, and if you're applying to like contractor roles or 8570 required roles, then that's not going to be discriminated against probably. Ensure policy documents are aligned with business objectives. Again, that's explaining what you did, not necessarily how you're going to bring value. I would make that professional summary. And looking back at the rubric, your elevator pitch. Don't bore me. You get in the elevator with a hiring manager and you've got 3 floors to be like, ooh, this is why you need to hire me. That's what it should say there. It's like, I've done these things. I can do these other things. I know you've got a job opening for this, and like I could do it because I've done this in the past. That's what needs to be in the summary. Can't tell you exactly what that is from your experience, but that's what I would put there. Technologies and competencies. This is definitely a word soup. Do you know these things? Probably. Wouldn't be surprised based on saying you were security operations and management, but to what extent? How did you use them? Also, it's nice that you got soft skills in here. But again, I don't like this technologies and competencies in general. I've had it on my resumes in the past, but I think it's more useful in a bullet about what you taught. So like I taught threat hunting using Security Onion and Wireshark. Yeah, a bunch of other tools. That's what I would put there. Pen testing with Kali and Ubuntu and CentOS. Yes, it's doable. You can install a lot of things. Your certifications, okay, projected, in progress, Try to decide what I think of this. Saying that you're working on Security Plus, good. These other ones projected, it's like, well, I don't know. My opinion, my personal opinion, why you came here, is I wouldn't put them on there. Other people might have different opinions. Maybe it shows that you're working on stuff. That's cool. I like the one progress that at least shows that you're working on it. That's good. Where you're working on it. Cool. The Simply Cyber GRC course is good. I like the course. You put together some good stuff. See, this is a certificate you got. I put that there. Your certificates in education, because your certificates are born from your education. It looks like you got the GRC cert from Jerry's course. You're getting your Sec Plus, and you have that CUS cert. That's what I would say is those. I would say the CUSS certificate. Maybe say, let's say I got it from Leader Quest. No, I just put the year that I got the training. Then the GRC Masterclass. And the date, and then Security Plus and projected, and your projected date. So if you're taking the test in June, then yeah, projected June. I would boil this whole section down into that. Just those 3 lines. Doesn't need to be a whole lot. It doesn't, like, this is actually confusing. When I first looked at it, I was like, what am I seeing? That's why it took me a little bit to understand what's going on there. I like that you're planning on these courses, but yeah, I don't think you need it there. I think it takes away. I think it adds confusion where it's not necessary. EPR bullets. What you did, why it matters, what the end result was, right? Like, I'm saying this because you're Air National Guard, so that should make sense to you. EPR bullets. That's what we're shooting for here. What did you do? Because in your EPR, like, you've got a section where it says what your job is, right? And then all the other sections are, and sorry for everyone else who, like, this doesn't like make sense to you. You don't have the experience like working with EPRs, and it might have changed recently, but in the 10 years I was in, 11, EPRs all kind of went the same way. And OPRs look very much the same. That's your enlisted performance report or officer performance report. It's annual. Every year you get graded, and it goes into like your record, and it's part of promotions, your performance report. There's bullets in there that are much like a resume. So go take your EPRs, the ones especially that led to your promotions. Look at the giant projects that you did, the things that really made an impact. Make those your bullet points. Like, you're a security operations manager. Awesome. Got this like idea of what it means. You did put like recognize a command level, demonstrating ability to lead large teams. That's like a great one for a perform or like for your promotion. But like, depending on the job that you're going for, is that super helpful? Same with this other one. Scope of expertise ranges from interagency comms to deployable comms. Like, awesome. Like, truth be told, me knowing that, I would put you on certain teams and send you to do certain stuff back when I was running like the training in UTM. But outside of the military, I don't know how that's valuable to the job that you're applying to. Same with this enthusiastic leader. That's cool. I like it. I don't like it on your resume. I don't think it adds value. And all of these don't have like they don't really show what you're going to bring to the company that fits like a job description requirement. Does that make sense? Like, no offense. Seems like you're on top of stuff. If you're looking for a GRC resume, like if this is your GRC resume, then let's think back to that course. Think back to the things that Gerry talked about. So you can audit. Can you fit within a compliance framework? I'm sure you have. I'm sure at some point you had to do some sort of audit of systems. Whether you had QA, whether you had to fit things, prepare things for deployment. Sounds like it looks like you did compliance management and risk management. Let's take those. Let's take these things right here and make 3 or 4 bullet points out of that. If you're applying for a GRC role, saying that you know how to run an audit, that you ran an audit in like this many audits for this organization, found this many things, and it led to them being able to deploy or do these other things. That's a way more helpful bullet. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay, you're getting. I don't know. I don't know that I would put your training in here for this. I would put this in another section. So this right here, what you're learning from your training, I would put that into training and education. I put certificates. So certificates, put the CUS, put the GRC, and put that you're working on Security Plus. And then in training, somewhere else, put this stuff that you're learning, computer hardware fundamentals, OSI, all that other stuff. Put that somewhere else. You're an analyst. So knowing a little bit about how the system works, you took requirements from upper organization and applied them to your organization, finding this many discrepancies, putting in this many poems, and working this many tickets to then be compliant across DISA, DoD, and the Air Force. I feel like that makes more impact for hiring you for a GRC role. Help desk analyst. Okay, how many? Looks like I like this bullet because I see numbers. I like numbers. Words kind of get, when I'm going through a resume, words get skipped over. I speed read. And people who are going through a lot of resumes, they speed read too. They're looking for keywords. They're looking for certain structure to your bullets that makes it easy to move through. If it's an upper level position where your leadership, where you're looking for a senior level, then it's a little different. There you can expound. There you can really dive into things. If it's an entry level or a mid-level position, then you really want to get your point across usefully, because there's going to be tons and tons of applicants. I like this. I'm curious how big your customer base was, and you could probably condense computer systems, printers, PDAs, and various IS hardware. Or at least add numbers there and say what uptime was or customer satisfaction. And I'm curious what size your team was. If you had 25,000, geez, that's a lot. Was that the whole? Is that a whole base? Because you're in San Antonio. Anyways, okay. Contract position. Yeah, curious about that one. So this one's interesting. It's a 3-month gap between positions. Truth be told, I don't put months. I just put the year that I did a gig to the year that I did a gig. Often a lot of my jobs have overlapped. There's been times where I've done 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, especially so I would just put the years. I wouldn't put months. Then you don't have to explain why there's a gap. Truth be told, you really don't have to explain why there's a gap if you don't want to. Okay, and then you were in before you were contact and before you were guard, doing all the same things. I feel like here, in 11 years of being an enlisted security specialist and incident responder, especially you were an instructor, were you at were you at Kiesler? Ooh, I would build this out more. Also, I'm curious, I don't know. I really want to chat with you later. Find out why you didn't get Security Plus through the military. Were you a cop? No. You did audits, assessments. Were you security forces or cybersecurity? I don't know. I would build that out more. I would explain more of this. Because if either way, I think that there's more useful stuff in there about the audits that you ran, the vulnerabilities that you assessed. Did you assess a base? If you were a cop, security forces, a defender, um, then I feel like you've got a ton of relevant skills in there for GRC, understanding things from the physical security standpoint and the overall security standpoint that could totally be really helpful in a GRC role. So, yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn or Discord if you'll chat more later, Chris. Take a sec, look at questions. Yep, Cyberhound. It's way easier. Like you connect with people that you find of good quality, right? Be it on Discord or LinkedIn or like your just local professional community, wherever it is that you spend time with people. When you find out that you have an opening, like it's way easier to someone where you're like, oh man, I know so and so works really hard. They're really smart. They know these things. They've done this stuff. I'm gonna see if they could do this job, if they want to come over here. And it's nepotism will get you everything. It sucks. It sucks for those of you who like don't have the connections, don't have the inside scoop. But it goes back to that making connections and becoming valuable and becoming part of someone's organization. There are people, if I ever get to the position where I can hire, I know exactly who I'm calling up. Like some of you are listening. If I could hire you, I would hire you. Some of you have worked for me as volunteers, and if I could pay you, I would have paid you. Oh, and it's those sorts of things. Nepotism will get you everything. It sucks in like the whole structure of society, but yeah. Oh yeah, Chris is telling me he didn't send a job he was applying for. That's fine. I'll get to yours. I've got it up there at the end. And I don't have any meetings, so I'm just gonna kind of go until I've done all the ones that are up here. Sorry, looking at YouTube, making sure I'm not missing any big questions. Oh, hey, is that Floss? Floss Lacrosse. Found your channel through an assignment I had to do in my access control and defense methods class. Graduated from McGill this summer after my 2 remaining classes. Awesome. Glad to have you here. I do this very strange. There's the Cyber Insecurity YouTube channel. There's Joshua17SC YouTube. There's Simply Cyber, where Gerry lets me hijack his channel. And then on LinkedIn, you might be watching this on Joshua's Mason, on my own third person there. My YouTube channel, you might be or LinkedIn channel, you might be watching this on Gerry's LinkedIn, and you might be watching this on either one of our Twitch channels. So we're kind of everywhere. We're not on Twitter or Facebook anymore, but yeah. This one's going to be interesting because I know the US market fairly well. I don't know international markets, but we're going to go through this looking at what I think are overall valuable and how things apply to the job that, like, does your resume fit the job you're applying to? I've got some folks who are, that I talk to who are in Australia, and their practices are way different. A cover letter is required there, and it's not just like what I would put in a cover letter, which is a paragraph maybe of your elevator pitch, of like really passionately explaining why you want this job, which I've only done once. I don't know that I needed it. But overall, I think the concepts carry over. So you're looking for a senior pen tester position, and You advise, alone or in a team, leading organizations and strategic inside benefits. Okay, so what are they looking for? They're looking for a bachelor's OSCP or equivalent. If you have that, then you would have Metasploit, Burp, all the Kelly tools. Can you write reports? Take the lead. All right. Those are my big takeaways, especially since I don't know German or Dutch. This is Netherlands. Yeah. All right. I redacted some of your stuff. Did I do that right? You got a medium. That's good. Okay. So Benham, things I get from your get-go, 7 years. Your tone in your summary is very conversive. It's nice. It's a first person. I would condense it down. Again, elevator pitch. Like real quickly in an elevator, what do I need to know about you? That you were you've been a pen tester for 7 years? Like how many have you done? What sorts of teams have you led or been a part of? Looking back at this, what is asking for? Have you given briefs in person? Have you given briefs to senior executives? Benny's. It's asking for a bachelor's. You have a bachelor's. I might throw that in there. And it only needs to be like 1 or 2 sentences. It does not need to be a whole paragraph. Especially since you're saying I have been a pen tester. I've done this many pen tests and I've given briefs and worked on teams of this size or that. That's what I would put in my summary if I was applying to this job with your background. You were a senior penetration tester for a couple years now. You don't need to put, I wouldn't put this, just boom, from September to 2020 until now. Sweet, that works. And I got this idea that they know what a pen tester does because they're hiring for it. So putting what all that you did, it's redundant. I don't know that it actually adds value. So what I would put is what could you do for them? Again, done this many pen tests on different systems of this size or that size, on teams of this size or that size, given briefs, made reports of this value or that value. That's what I would put. How many have you done? What was the impact? What was the size of the organizations you helped? Did you help small businesses? Did you help enterprise organizations? You don't need to name customers. That's probably not allowed in your NDA. But you could say like what you've done in general. But yeah, this is what a pen tester does. Impactful. Set yourself apart from all the other pen testers who are applying. If they're like, okay, yeah, he's been a pen tester for this long, gotcha, check. This other guy says that he's been a pen tester for the same amount of time, that he's done this many pen tests, that he worked on teams of this size and that size and customers of this size and that size. Well, that sounds like more what we're looking for. Set yourself apart. Head of information security. Nice. Again, I would boil this down a little bit more. I like this, performing penetration tests. I would probably put penetration tester, head of information security department, just to further expound on the fact that you've done this for years, for a couple years at that point. Again, I don't think you need to do the math for them. And again, boil it down. Like how often did you do it? If you were internal head of security, like information security, then how often did you do pen tests? What else did you do there? Did you do other assessments? Sorry. Right. Hone in, give them the details that they really will set you apart quickly. Don't take up space, because you don't need to. Like, all this makes sense that you did it, but it's kind of just what I would expect you to have done. It's nothing special. Same with these others. Maybe this is an opportunity to say what technologies you've worked on. That's another thing you could work in here. What tools did you use when you were doing these pen tests? Did you work with any C2 frameworks that really set you apart? Do you have experience with Cobalt Strike? Do you have experience with I don't know, any other framework? Did you emulation, or did you just do pen tests? Because there's a difference there. You said red teaming. So if you did red teaming, did you work with minor attack framework and yeah, emulating a certain APT, or did you just go in and find what you could find? Because those are two different things, and they both are valuable. And depending on where you're going, who you're applying to, they might be interested in just a pen test, just find all the things, or they might be interested in emulation, because more and more people are finding that that's what they want. They want a red team. So-and-so got hacked by these guys. Are we going to get hacked by those guys? Come over here, do a pen test, emulate them, and show us if we are safe from that attack specifically. Good. You don't have word soup. That's good. Your bullet points could be more useful, and your summary could be more useful. That's kind of my takeaway for you. But otherwise, it looks good. This one, Kevin, were you the one looking for a pen testing job? I'll check that. Sorry. This is the Deloitte job. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Kevin, again, looks like you've got either the standard or the Rainier Cyber template. Very nice. And you're looking at this Deloitte pen test specialist. It's Arlington. It's local. It's Deloitte, so it's a big four. Qualifications. Is it? The specialist, I think, is their lowest level. They've got several different levels. The big four all kind of name things differently. But overall, you can travel. Yeah. Experience with CD2, hardening activity, application infrastructure, vulnerability assessments, and penetration testing. And you're going to do federal consulting. And you're going to do CH. And they want CH and CSP. Very, very generic. So they're looking for someone with knowledge of a few things. These big four, yeah, sometimes have very generic descriptions. Right, let's see. You got your LinkedIn, curious about your GitHub, and that confused me. California, Maryland. Gotcha. It was just one of those things. If you're putting in for something in Virginia and you're in California, they're going to be like, companies will move you depending on the company. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Your summary doesn't tell me why you fit this job. You can do all sorts of things and you can come up with solutions. Got it. Elevator pitch of why you should be a pen tester for Deloitte. That's what you want in your summary. This doesn't quite do it. Yeah, I don't think your summary adds any value here. No offense. Clearance is not bad, especially for Deloitte in Virginia. And saying that they work with federal systems, yeah, it's not going to hurt. You'd make this just one line, just Security Plus. And are you getting more certificates? Or is this just, oh, you got it in 2022 and it's going to be expire in 25? I'll just make that one line. I don't know that I would put it up here. I think I'd put your certs and your education below because it's not like a big thing that makes you stand out. It is one of those things. You might mention that you're Security Plus certified in your summary alongside the rest of your experience and why it matters, especially since it looks like, are you just coming out of the military? You're at Saber, but you were in the military. In the Navy. So yeah, I would move certs and education below, but maybe talk about the fact that you are a Security Plus certified information security officer with experience in application infrastructure vulnerability assessments and penetration testing for the U.S. government and U.S. military. That's what I would put in my summary if I was applying to this job with your experience. Because it fits, right? You're not lying in there at all, are you? Like, show right here that you use Tenable Nessus, like, and that you're used to the SCAP and ATOs and STIGs. Yeah. So this is one of those opportunities to take exactly what they're asking for, that you're qualified in vulnerability and penetration testing, and that you've done it. Put that in your summary. Like, real quickly, when they first start, oh, this guy's got Security Plus and he knows how to run a like Nessus scan and apply STIGs and SCAP. Like, okay, cool. Let's continue reading. As opposed to this adds nothing. Do I see anything that stands out? Flip to the next applicant. Does that make sense? Bullets could use work. You have good words in there, but impact and like why it matters is kind of a big thing that you're missing. How many scans did you use? How often did you do these things? Was it part of a big audit? Was it just your normal operations? Like, regularly, this many times ran Nessus scans, weekly, monthly, quarterly, finding how many vulnerabilities and applying so many POAMs to get up to this compliance level, like maturity. It looks like you're a contractor, probably at the base for Pax River. So yeah, same thing with your Navy time. You could, oh man, did a lot of good stuff, but boil it down. Boil it down into a couple really good bullets, man. Especially to, is this font 10? Oof. Yeah, that's one of the things that was hurting me. Pilots are supposed to have good eyes. I did have good eyes, and then I don't have good eyes, so you definitely make this like 12-point font. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bullets for your 3 years at Andrews in that role. You make that better. Man, was your primary job the DTS officer in GTC? Or was this an additional duty? Looks like it was that. Okay. Big things that matter there is you audited people's travel and you ensured compliance with standards, right? That's what I would focus on with this role because that's what you did. That's why we have GTC or GCC coordinators and DTS authorizing officers to approve travel and approve payment for travel. So I would focus in on those things that you did, that you audited this many orders for this many organizations and this large of funding, which I think you've got in there. As many counts. Boil it down, and if you can, put in compliance with this regulation to maintain compliance. Yeah, that was not bad. Font's killing me. They're not bad. I would just tweak them, boil them down. Maybe 2 to 3 bullets instead of 8 to 6. Specifically looking at how you could do a auditing, pen testing, vulnerability assessment job. Does that make sense? Personal projects is not bad. I like that you have that in there. I like this stuff, especially for pen testing. Sorry, thinking. Do you do hack the box at all? I would add a hack the box in there, even if your rank's not high. Do you do any bug bounties? Oh, that's the other thing. Okay, you've done this stuff. Where are your write-ups? Where are your assessments? Where's your GitHub repo? Where's your Medium? Where's your personal page? If you're doing all this stuff to be a pen tester, where are you writing it down? Because truth be told, going from playing around with stuff on Try Hack Me to making it part of preparing for a job is the difference in okay, cool. I found the flags and I put them in the thing and submitted them and got the points and finished the room. Good job. It's when you get to relevant or man, I haven't been on Try Hack Me in a while. The bigger rooms, the harder rooms, the rooms where are supposed to be realistic. Okay, where are your notes? Where I did this for enumeration. I found these things. I tried out these commands. I connected to SMB, found these groups, found these users. Okay, put that into your write-up. Put it on GitHub, connect to it, and push it in your resume. Because truth be told, if you're going to be a pen tester and you're going to make reports about pen testing, I kind of want to see what your writing style is. And if you're actually going through steps that when you're on my team, because I'm assuming the hiring manager is part of the team, kind of take what you show in your write-up and your analysis sets in your write-up and be like, okay, cool. I can work with this guy. He thinks the way I want him to be thinking and shows that he knows how to use the tools and the skills. Not in his resume, but the link from his resume to his GitHub. His link from his resume to his LinkedIn posts, which you got LinkedIn. Does that make sense? Tom asked me about my roosters. Yeah, they come hang out below my window. Rooster. I'm down to 1. There's a fox in my neighborhood. I saw him yesterday. And bane of my existence. I'm down 2 ducks and 2 chickens in like the last 6 months. We have 10 chicks downstairs and 4 duck eggs in the incubator right now. So hopefully we'll get more. I also have 2 goats. Which, if you found me on LinkedIn, I got a cute picture with one of my goats when it was really small. Between these things, let's take a look. YouTube link for Terrell, it's Cyber Insecurity on YouTube. If you go to my personal page and contact information, there's a bio link that's got all of my socials, including LinkedIn and Discord, I think. And it might be in the description on LinkedIn. I can't remember. Okay. Hey, Jess, thanks. Jess Bishop, great person. I also highly suggest joining the Cyber Insecurity and Simply Cyber Discord channels. Does exclamation point Discord work? Don't know if my bot's working. It hasn't been. Jess, you want chickens? You've got like so many pets. Okay, No Name asked, what projects would you suggest for a fresher pen tester to try and also put on resume that could help? Have you built any rooms? Have you did you guys know that you can just build a room for Try Hack Me? If you have VMware and like Ubuntu, like 16, I built a room. Truth be told, me building a room was probably how I got a job at INE. I found some it's something I've been teaching at Decida, is like this certain vulnerability. So I just made my own room with that vulnerability and put it out there. It's tribute. It's not a public room because they didn't like how I set it up, which is fine. But you could build a room. If you build a room, like that kind of sets you apart, right? Especially if it does get accepted in this public. But I would put your projects out there. So if you do a room, make a write-up. Go check out Lola, Corinna, Cyber Lola. I got her started writing up her publishing her write-ups because she had been taking notes for a lot of the rooms she was doing. Finally putting them out there in a like digestible fashion for other people to get is what set her apart and like made her the shoe-in for getting her job. It's why it's one of the things that like Neal thought was great in her as an intern is putting her stuff out there. California 909's out here, and he's got a great GitHub or YouTube page, not YouTube. Bleh. He's got a great personal page with his write-ups of CTFs and his insights and stuff. Highly suggest checking those out. He puts it on his resume and his LinkedIn page. It's valuable. Showing that you know how to do stuff. Very, very useful. All right. I think I'm going to do this last one and then call it a day. So Christopher Prue, you told me you didn't have a job that you were applying for. I'm assuming you're kind of going for a pen tester job. Okay. So you got your LinkedIn, you got your GitHub. There's a little bit with your format that you could probably work out. And it might be because I think I took this from a PDF to Google Doc, and I might have messed up the formatting a little bit. That's fine. There's things in here that I like. They're showing you capture the flag. You've got Sec Plus. They've got a certificate from boot camp, and you've got a clearance. But man, I think there's a better way of wording all this. That you're, if you're applying to be a penetration tester, then say you're a penetration tester who's active on TryHackMe, Hackbox, and other CTF platforms, who has gotten Security Plus and has a home lab where you're using Elk. I can't imagine where else you're using Elk. Maybe your other tools. That's how I boil that down. If there is other stuff here, I would maybe throw that in. But okay, you got some projects. Set up your own Elk stack. I kind of like this. This isn't bad. I'm wondering if there's a better way of presenting it. I don't know that I would put it up front, but it's not bad. This is like the way to do your like skills dump without doing a skills dump. That you have a project where you use these tools. Yeah. All right, and then gotcha. Your call taker and dispatcher. In Portland. For a second, I was thinking like, okay, where are you doing this? If you're like a dispatcher in like LA County, like or Portland, Oregon, Vice, like Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where my folks are at, you're looking at different stuff. And you're a senior and you've been doing it for like 6 years now. Trying to think of how I would boil this down more, or because it's admirable, but at the same time, it's how does it show that you're going to be a good pen tester? Like 6 years at the same job, doing a good job, says something. And that's what I would want to highlight is you're if you're new to cybersecurity, you're putting in the time with your projects. That's good, and that's why I like it up front because your job experience isn't in that. So then, how do we make this other not completely like not irrelevant work, but not work related? How do we boil that down to make it show that you have applicable skills? So maybe working 24/7 like emergency call center, you're senior. So are you running a team? Like how big is your team? Like I like the numbers of how many calls a year. Yes, this one's kind of like straightforward. That's what you would do. If anyone's thinking about a 911 dispatcher office, like that's kind of what we assumed from like seeing this. So like helpful bullet. Same committees. I don't know, like leadership right there, but trying to think if there's a better way of like showing it. Some of this I think you could boil down to like 2 bullets that you've been maybe a highly awarded and Oh man, why am I blanking? Incommodate, commendated like leader of a team of this large, manning a 24/7 hour call center, leading a 24/7 call center, answering over 25,000 calls a year. Like, truth be told, that right there as a bullet, I think is more useful than all these other bullets. Being in the Air National or the Army National Guard, I know you did leadership. And you had to comply, especially as a food advisor, comply with health standards. Yeah. Acceptance paperwork. I would focus a little more on that. As a pen tester, basically what you're doing is a version of audit, especially for an organization that needs a pen test as part of their cyber maturity. Like PCI requires an audit or a pen test, I think. And so often they'll have one come in just for that. And so your ability to audit is valuable. It's a great little bullet. Great little bullet showing that you're like, you do work, you do hard work. Same. I like these. I really like these bullets. Truth be told, I know it's irrelevant skills, but it shows that you're organized, that you can optimize a program, that you can get work done. That's valuable. Cool. That's neat. I don't know that it fits here, but you know what? I'd keep it. It's one of those little things that shows that you've focused on something before, that you've gained expertise. Yeah. Okay. Just a little thing, a few things to clean up. But truth be told, I really like your resume. You don't have word soup. Your summary could use just a little rewording, so it just feels a little awkward. Like, read through it out loud to yourself and see if it feels awkward, especially like the whole URL spelled out. Maybe look at how you've got your projects in here. It feels awkward. I like that it's there, but it's awkward. But I don't have like a great solution for you. I am not terribly creative. Go simple. Yeah. And then boil this down. It's great. It's good stuff. But boil it down to what matters for a pen testing job, because it sounds like that's what you're looking for. Twitch spammer. All right. Any last questions today? No. So we hung on. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Next week, I'm going to be live from San Diego. It'll be early for me, but I'll jump on and spend some time with you guys. I'll go through, I got more resumes sent to me this morning. So I'll go through those, starting with what I didn't cover today. And then I'll figure out what I'm going to do for the following weeks. Because these resume reviews are fun, but I've got some really neat stuff I want to show you. I need to find out if I can get clearance from SimSpace to share stuff. And I want to get into a little bit of what can we do to build our brand a little bit. All right. With that, thank you so much for joining me, and you have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of the shows that we have on Cyber Insecurity. Tomorrow is Tipsy Cyber with Jack. I think next week Neal's going to be back with Tea with a Hacker. Tuesdays, we still have Brent Eskridge, Ph.D., doing his Python course. And Wednesday evenings are Brandon Krieger, and he is still working through, I think he has a CISP. He's doing AMAs and job advice as an analyst. Jerry's got a great show later this afternoon on the Conti ransomware. And I think Ken Underhill is going to be on Jack Scott's Outpost Gray. So that should be a really great interview too. And Davin Jackson's got a good lineup for tonight as well. So Cyber Thursday is the place to be. You guys have a great rest of the week.